Welcome to the Now and Beyond podcast, hosted by Ryan Canfield, founder and president of Victus Wealth Management. Whether you're seeking financial freedom, investment insights, or simply looking to optimize your lifestyle, tune in for conversations that empower you to achieve a balance between enjoying the present and ensuring a resilient financial future. Welcome to a podcast where the art of living well today intersects with the science of planning for a brighter tomorrow.
Hey everyone, on this episode, I interviewed Noah Snyder, a millennial entrepreneur who owns a local gym named Ark Fitness. I have known Noah for years and his story is extremely inspiring. We discuss so many different things, such as the challenges he faced starting his gym, why it's important to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals and establish a community for support, why investing in your health is the number one investment you can make, and so much more. If you want to follow Noah's journey, his links are in the show notes. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hey Noah, I can't express how excited I am that you are the first guest on the Now and Beyond podcast. You know, your story is super inspirational. What you're doing for the community is absolutely amazing. So, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hey Ryan, I'm doing awesome, man. Thank you, and I'm truly honored to be your first guest. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. But especially as somebody that has known me for many years and kind of gotten to see a lot of the journey firsthand. So this is really cool.
Yeah, I think on Facebook the other day there was a Facebook memory saying that you and I became friends. Like I want to say it was like 8 years ago, which absolutely blew my mind to really think about.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Starting to feel old.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially younger generation.
Yeah. Well, cool. I would love to get started with just you giving the listeners a little bit of background about who you are, talk about your company, a little bit about your back history. So I'll let you take it away for a bit.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ryan. Well, my name is Noah Snyder. I live in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, but was born and raised in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So that really, truly is my home. And my wife, Hannah, and I operate a fitness center called Ark Fitness. This Friday is actually going on 2 years since we opened, which is pretty exciting.
That's amazing.
But I didn't start out in health and fitness. Actually, even when I was in high school, my first job was McDonald's. So pretty much the complete opposite. But the one common thread in all the occupations I've had has been customer service. So I love to serve people. I love to solve problems. I love to see something and make it better and be able to appreciate the work that I've done. So those are the kind of things that I'm passionate about. And fitness has just kind of been something that has over the years transformed my life. And it's also just a really cool and exciting industry. So we love doing what we do every single day. You know, I always felt like I had an entrepreneurial spirit about me. You know, even when we met, I think I was working in banking at the time. You know, but even then, like I had this passion, this energy, and I think people were like, "Why is he so passionate about banking?"
Yeah.
But it was just a passion for business and life, and I finally feel like I just found something that I'm able to do that for myself and for my family, and meet a lot of really cool people along the way. But yeah, we're 2 years in now, and it's going super well, and just really optimistic about the future.
Yeah. I remember meeting you, and I feel like we probably were at Cornerstone Coffee House in Camp Hill, and having that conversation around like, you know, you just seemed like you were being driven to be an entrepreneur, and like I could tell from that first conversation, I'm like, okay, like banking's kind of that stepping stone, right? Which is perfectly okay. You know, it's okay for people to have that stepping stone and stuff, and not really rush in, because we've seen so many people they're like, well, I want to start a business, and they jump in and start a business right away without really thinking about it or mapping out what exactly they really want to do. But your journey has just been, again, like I said in the beginning, an inspiration. Not just not just, with Ark Fitness and stuff, but just your career, and then, your growth physically as well, with owning the gym, and your execution with training and stuff has just it's been so exciting to witness and stuff firsthand.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. And the one thing that I could, even looking back now and especially going forward, credit any amount of success we've had to is truly surrounding ourselves with the right community
Mhm.
and the right people. Because I cannot give myself even the majority of the credit for where we've gotten to. I've just been very fortunate to meet so many amazing people, yourself definitely included, that have, one, identified what you said you saw in me, and then helped to kind of foster that and guide me in a lot of ways. And especially have, all disclosures out, have been our financial advisor and got to see our highest points and lowest points, and I'm sure many yet to come. But you never were like, hey, you guys are crazy, you should stop doing
Yeah.
that. Sometimes that's all we need, is just somebody to say, what you're doing's risky, but keep
Hmm.
going. You can do that.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful too, especially with fitness too. I don't have a natural drive to work out. I know people are like, oh, you must love working out. And honestly, I'm just at the gym every day working, so it's kind of a
Yeah.
byproduct. But I do it because I have to, and there's so many benefits, and it's really hard not to want to do better when you're always around people that are motivated and positive, and doing a lot for themselves. And that's honestly like one of the best things about the industry is, the people are there by
Yeah.
choice, and people think that everyone just in the gym just has this natural drive to work out and they just love it and everyone else hates it. Those people in there were just like the main population at some point, and were terrified to go into a gym and hated it.
Hmm.
But they took that step, and now you kind of become addicted to it. And I think you kind of get that too. It's
Yeah.
like you're looking good and feeling good. You're like, okay, I can see why this is worth
Yep.
it.
Yeah. And what's that old saying? Like, show me your five closest friends and I'll show you your future. It kind of goes hand in
Mm,
hand with that, being surrounded by, people that are disciplined and they're in there working out, every single day. And, they just kind of start to rub off on you. And you're like, hey, I kind of want to be like that person, and the same thing
mhm.
goes with business. When you surround yourself around like other business leaders and business owners and stuff, you tend to pick up little bits of traits from each person and stuff. And, it can benefit you. Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And you were talking about how we met, and I believe it was actually in the West Shore Professionals like networking group, which I will credit that group with pretty much my entire professional network of, you being my financial
Hmm.
advisor, Evan Wabrick being my
Hmm.
accountant, Jesse Harlan to this day is now our commercial insurance guy. Dan Jameson does our legal assistance. So
Yeah.
like it's awesome having like this whole like team of
Hmm.
people that are now everyone that I'm counting on to run my business just through that
Yeah.
group, which is also cool. Advice to younger entrepreneurs is find younger people if you can to be your professional advisors, because if you find somebody that's getting close to retirement, then you're going to have to find somebody all new all over again once they do retire.
No, that's absolutely true. I've seen that a ton of times over my career. So, yeah. Well, one thing I really wanted to talk about was what inspired you to start Ark Fitness, and tell us about your journey from the initial idea to like where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great thing to touch on, because a lot of people, the hardest thing for them is getting started, and it definitely was for us too. I worked in high school. I worked in a gym part time at the desk, and that was my first kind of exposure to the gym and fitness world, and I loved it. But at the same time, I identified so many things wrong with
Mhm.
it. Just the way the gyms treated people like a number, and we're really just it can be a profitable business. So a lot of people that own gyms are using it as an investment
Mhm.
versus something that's really there to serve a purpose. So I got out of the business for a while after that, came back and was managing a gym for a few years. Before I got into the banking and all that, I was managing this gym, and again, I absolutely loved it. I kept coming back to it. I'm like, man, this is great. But then even as a manager, you hit a ceiling where, you can only do so much in your career. You're not the one making the calls and making the decisions. And again, in my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't we do it this way?
Yeah.
Why don't we not put people in contracts? Why don't we not charge all these extra fees just because somebody misses a payment because their card expired? Like, to me, common sense stuff that these gym owners were not doing. My mindset at that point was like, okay, well, if that's how the industry is, I'm just going to get out of it because I can't handle it. Which, looking back, that was the wrong mindset, but I didn't ever considered at that time that ownership could be an option for me. And then years down the road after that, I find out that the gym that I used to manage was for sale. So I approached the owner that I used to work for about buying it, and he was super on board. We drew up a contract, and it was very, very exciting because here's this existing fitness business that I could simply just kind of take the keys to. I already had relationships with the members there, already relationships with the trainers. So to me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, walk in, clean it up a little bit, take the keys, and start doing things my way, right? Like, it seemed like the perfect situation until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And about a week before we closed on that contract, the previous owner sold it out from under me to another gym. And I won't get into all the details of that, but it definitely caught us off guard. We had legal recourse if we wanted to go after him, but like, I knew in my gut that was not the right option, and so we stepped away for a little bit. But that's where the crossroads really was, and we had already quit our jobs, by the way, to take that contract on. Like, we were already all in at that point, so we're at a crossroads of like, okay, well, I either have to go back to a 9 to 5, whether it was banking or IT or something else, or we take this business plan in this community that we already have, and we start our own gym. And that is, by the way, with very little financial resources, no real estate even in mind to do so. We just knew that we had a community of people behind us, right? And that's a point where most people would say, well, but I don't have any money. Now's not the time. I'm just going to get another job. And I knew if I got another 9 to 5, that would consume all of my time and energy, and I wouldn't go and do this. So my wife Hannah, with her full support, and with the support of Brock, who was an independent trainer at that other gym, and he wanted to support us and run the training company, we decided to embark on that. And once we made up our mind that's what we were going to do, that was written in stone. Like, there was no turning back. There was no changing our minds. Like, we were going to figure this out. So we kind of set on that journey, and we found a local business owner, Scott Curran, that owns Curran's Furniture, and just literally hit him up about, hey, we want to put a gym somewhere in Mechanicsburg. Would you be open to letting us use part of your building? And even I remember that conversation was wild because he was like super open to it. It was really surprising. And he's like, yeah, gym sounds kind of cool. Let's talk about it. And so we ended up taking over this old furniture store building. And it's like a 13,000 square foot room that used to be their showroom. And in my mindset was do it, all things necessary to make this dream a reality.
Yeah.
So the showroom was full of furniture at the time. It needed to be empty of furniture. So I helped him sell furniture for 3 months.
Yeah.
We literally were like, whatever we had to do, I was there, marking down tags, helping customers load couches. And I didn't want any pay for that. To me, the pay was, hey, we're getting to the starting line of our business sooner. So this is worth it to me. So that was 2022 in August that we officially opened our doors, and we started that process in October of 2021. Wow. So it was almost a year from when we walked into the doors of that space to when we could even actually open the gym. So that's a year where I didn't have steady income. Hannah was doing nails at her mom's salon at the time, so that was pretty much her only income. But I did odd jobs on the side to help out till we got there. So biggest lesson I learned from that, Ryan, was I didn't think I could last a month without my corporate salary from my previous job before running out of money. when you're in those situations, you either sink or swim, and we got creative.
Yeah.
We cut things back, and we found ways to make it by. So, even if you have responsibilities, like we have a mortgage, we have car payments, things we couldn't walk away from, there's always a way to figure it out if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, a lot of people, once that, deal was kind of pulled out from underneath of them, would have, tucked their tails and just been like, hey, like I'm putting my hands up, like I'm done, it's not really that great of an experience. And I mean, I
I
can't
was
really
there.
think of too many things that would be more challenging than that when, you're trying to become an entrepreneur. And they just would have ran away. They probably would have went back to the 9 to 5 job, like you said. And, so like what you and Hannah did, I've talked about this recently on, the podcast and on YouTube videos where, it's almost like you're driven by your values, and if you align your values with like your financial goals, it kind of gives you a little bit of a clearer path. So it's like, I had another client who he wanted to start a bakery, and he's sitting there working a 9 to 5 job, and he wasn't happy. He knew what he wanted to do. um and he went and started, like, he busted his butt because he knew he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to create this bakery. Like, that was his passion. So I mean, it's exactly what you and Hannah did. So it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
man. Well, and to be fair, I went through that period of time where I did tuck my tail between my legs, and um, you know, everybody's going to go through those emotions. It's just about how you work through them. And honestly, again, because I had people in my corner that were like, Noah, you're better than this.
Yeah.
You you need to figure this out. That was the thing that really drove me to make that decision. It wasn't my own strength alone, like that is for sure. And I do believe that we all have a higher purpose and a
Mhm.
calling. So I mean, that was definitely part of it, is feeling like, I'm built for more than this. So if this truly is my calling and I feel that, then I will find a way to make it happen. But I say to this day to Brock and my other business partner, John Neifert, that helped me get the gym started initially. They were founding investors and business partners in the gym, and I said to them, "You guys believed in me more than I believed in myself at times." And, because John, and believed in starting this
Mhm.
gym before we even had a space. Brock put all his eggs in this basket as well, as far as his training company. And I think this worked out for him too, by the way, because he had one trainer when we started there. He's got like 14
Yeah.
now.
It's just
So
nonstop growing. It seems like every time I come in there, I feel like there's a new trainer, and it's been awesome, and like, so being on the younger side and being a young entrepreneur, did you feel like there was any challenges that like your age played in it?
yeah, definitely, especially initially, because most people either will judge you based off of your age, or how it appears you are off financially,
Mhm.
right? Like if I was already established and had multiple gyms, banks would have been a lot more likely to have a conversation with me. And funding is definitely one of the biggest obstacles. So if people think that you're too young, or out of your league, so to
Yeah.
speak, to do something, they're going to steer completely clear. But I think again, once we really proved to people that we were
Mhm.
serious, and there were definitely people that doubted in the beginning, especially when we had the furniture store lease, but we didn't really start renovating anything yet. People would come in and we're like, "Yeah, we're getting ready to put a gym in here," and they kind of were like, "Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
cute. Go ahead."
Yeah.
And then there was also people on the other hand who, like, from the gate, like, did not question it, and that's because I think they knew Brock and
Mhm.
myself and Hannah and John. Like, they knew us personally, And that probably helped too. Looking back, is like having someone like John who, is a little more experienced in his career and he's been in business longer. I think maybe people saw, okay, if he's supporting us, then that also counts for something. So again, that team, if it were just me, I would definitely steer clear. But I think it's like, okay, well, he's got a team of people behind him, so I feel a little more confident that what they're doing is legitimate and that it's going to be successful. But yeah, age definitely plays a role, especially again, funding. Banks don't want to look at you unless you've been in business usually for multiple
Mm-hmm.
years. Can show really good cash flow. Especially lately, I think they've been getting more and more strict with their lending.
Yeah.
Even banks that I've gotten lending from previously are now hesitant to do so just because of the interest rates and the state of the economy. But yeah, don't let it stop you though. Because I certainly question myself, like, should I have more experience before trying to do this? But on the other hand, you won't get this kind of experience anywhere
Yeah.
else besides just doing it,
Yeah.
right? Like opening a second gym now is going to be, I won't say easier, but I won't have as many learning curves as I did the first
Mm-hmm.
time because I've already been through it
Yeah.
once, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say just, don't let age hold you back. Be smart with when you make that jump, but you're also only going to ever get that experience and life experience just through doing it.
Yeah. So how did you overcome kind of the financing side of things? Like, going into a bank, being turned away, like you said, because of your age, being, I don't want to say judged by the cover, but at the end of the day, it's kind of what it
Sure.
is. How did you overcome
Yep.
that?
Yeah. Great question. And I still am to this day.
Yeah.
But initially, again, it was about relationships and getting the right people in your corner. And the biggest lesson I've learned with money is you don't have to have it to be an entrepreneur, at least even to get started. So many people think, I've got to get $100,000 lined up before I can do anything. I had my business plan ready and I had money spent in my head to do this that I didn't have
Mhm.
yet, right? Someone call that foolish. I just, call it, hey, you have to present a package even to an
Mhm.
investor, like, and already be making moves in order for the money to come in. So yeah, there's risk associated with that. And don't promise anything that you can't
Yeah.
deliver on. But even, you know, just getting creative. Like one of the ways that we got started was, yes, we had a little bit of traditional bank financing, but we also did a lot of business sponsorships,
Mhm.
which you were one of our founding business sponsors, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And we said to the business community, hey, here's what we're doing. We are going to build this community here. You can support us and also in turn get exposure for your business permanently. And our founding business sponsors, that opportunity is gone now,
Yeah.
right? So the select few businesses that saw our potential, in my perspective, the more we grow, they're only going to get more exposure and appreciation, right? Because they truly were ahead of the curve and helped to get started. And to be fair, I had a $5,000 level sponsorship and down to a 500 level sponsorship, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just do the 5,000 to make the 500 seem like less. Nobody's actually going to do it. We had like 5 businesses that did the $5,000
Yeah.
sponsorship, right? And it included membership vouchers for their
Mhm.
employees. It included some other marketing benefits. And again, they're taking risk because what if we close in a year?
Yeah.
What if we close in 6 months and they don't get back that what they were expecting? So there's definitely still risk involved, but that was one of the smartest things looking back that we did, even unknowingly, because now we're even more connected with the business
Mhm.
community. We have events that we bring out businesses for. So, but yeah, the money is out there that you need to start your
Yeah.
business. You just have to find it. You don't have to already have it. You don't have to be born with it. I certainly don't have wealthy parents. They have a lot of other amazing qualities that will credit a lot of my success
Mhm.
too. Money wasn't one
Yeah.
of them, right? But You don't have to be the one with the money, because there's plenty of people that have money out there that want it to earn and get a return for them, or they are looking for something to invest in that they can share
Yeah.
passionately. So if you find people like that who they're further along in life, they have made their money, but now they're just searching for purpose, and you can give them that purpose, it is worth a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the lesson I've learned is I'm like, why are people investing in me? I don't get
Yeah.
it. Now I get it. They saw something I did, and they wanted to be a part of what we're doing. So that would be my advice is, don't let financing be the thing that holds you back. Sometimes you have to start, and there will be unexpected expenses for sure. But you're an entrepreneur. You can figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, no, that's amazing because again, it's being able to pivot and not really beat yourself up and just kind of go with the times and stuff. So like that's great. Um, what's been the most rewarding part so far since you started Ark?
Oh man, there's a lot. So that's a tough
Yeah,
question. But I would just say the most rewarding part is twofold. And it kind of comes down to just seeing the impact we can have in people's
Mhm.
lives, like truly on a daily basis. And there's few other industries where I've felt that way. But one is just members and training clients, and just seeing them find their own strength and their confidence, like I have. This has been a journey for me with fitness. So seeing people truly get to lose weight, build muscle, gain confidence, build their relationships more strongly because of the work they put in the gym. That's incredibly
Mhm.
rewarding. And it's not all fitness people. We primarily are a gym for everyday people. A lot of people that have busy lives, that have kids, that work multiple jobs, and they still find the time to get in there. And to me, like, that is super rewarding, getting to see that. The other part is, and this is something I didn't know I would feel this way, is being able to provide an opportunity for our employees and our trainers to make a living. There's a lot of pressure that comes along with that too. But the moment that you have other people depending on you to earn their livelihood, it's pretty wild. So it's incredibly rewarding. It's also stressful, and probably the thing that keeps me up the most at night. If gosh, if I mess something up, a lot of these people are going to be impacted by
Yeah,
it, because they've come to depend on us for their livelihood. But it also pushes me to make things better and to make wiser decisions, because it's not just for myself. There's a whole community of people counting on it. But yeah, that is the thing. And especially when I step back and we do these anniversary parties. We did one last year. We'll do one this Saturday, and just getting to hear people's stories of the difference that we've made in their lives that we maybe didn't even realize. Beyond just fitness too, just building relationships with the members. Some of them have really hard lives,
yeah,
and we may be the only positive place that they walk into every
yeah.
week, which is pretty mind blowing. But like, Ron, our
Hmm.
opener, he's the most fantastic guy that you'll ever meet before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And, dude, people love him, and like, I literally have had people told me Ron is the highlight of my day and the reason that I get myself out of bed to come in here,
Wow.
because he's like their pre-workout. He gives them that rush of energy when they come in the door, gives them a fist bump, maybe gives them a compliment, whatever, just makes them smile. And that's the thing that, like, then that pushes them through their workout. So something simple, but one of the reasons we choose to have a fully staffed gym versus there are gyms that are going to like a key card access
Yeah.
model where there's no staff. But for me, like, our team and that experience is super
Yeah.
valuable.
Again, I mean, the common thing that you keep talking about is surrounding yourself with, the right people. And I agree with you, walking into, other gyms that I've walked into in the past, it's not as welcoming, people just say, hey, goodbye, when we walk into Ark, you're sitting there, hey Ryan, like, and the employees are like, hey Ryan, so they know me personally, and I've started building some really good friendships with them. Where it doesn't feel like I'm going to a commercial gym. I
Right.
feel like I'm going into my basement to go work out, with a bunch of friends. And it's even the people that are working out there as well. And again, I think it goes to credit like what you have built. The people that are working out there, I might not know them by name, but I've been with them for 2 years now, working out pretty much at the same exact time as all these other people. To where we're
Yep.
talking, while we're working out. It's just a fantastic community. And it's really unheard of nowadays. And, with talking with people in the community about you and about your gym, it's very unheard of for a millennial to have created, right? There's local chamber of commerces that tend to tailor towards the older generation. And I know they're starting to try to get that younger generation more and more involved. And it's, that's something that I feel like you, myself, and other younger leaders in our community have to really get behind and kind of be the ones to say, hey, here's what they can offer. Here's what we need to do. And, I think we're kind of doing that, if I toot both of our own horns, but it's been
Absolutely.
exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Yeah. Age truly isn't everything. And I even, it's kind of funny, but I beat myself up because I was always like, man, I really thought I would be an entrepreneur and running a business by the time I was 25. And like, I don't even know why I put a number to it, because everybody's journey is different. And we're always going to see stories of like some 17-year-old kid that's like already a millionaire because he had some genius idea. And it's like, you sit back and you're like, dang, man, I must be really behind.
Yeah.
But I know there's people that look at me that way and think that, man, I'm 10 years older than Noah and he's already ahead of me. Like, we need to stop doing that, because everybody's journey is different.
Yep.
And I no longer beat myself up over time because I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And man, I'll tell you what, you can really exponentially grow like overnight just by being steady and consistent. You don't have to always be going at 100 miles per hour to grow. Sometimes you just have to go through the motions and build the base super strong. And that's, I used to think, man, I really want like 10 gyms. I got to open a new one every year. I've stepped back from that mentality, and, mainly because Hannah told me that if I do anything else right this minute, then I'm out on the street.
She keeps you level.
Yeah, we definitely balance each other well. She's definitely my anchor. But I've subscribed to the idea that, what, I don't want to even open a second gym until I feel like we're doing everything as great as we can here, because the second gym is going to be a duplicate of what we have, right? So if what we have isn't already great, the second one's not going to be great. So, I know that day will come. So we're just waiting for the right opportunity, but not rushing the process. We did just expand. We added another 7,000 square feet. So that was a big step on its own. And once that's stable and we feel good about things, sure, then we look at continued growth in a smart, sustainable way. But it comes back to people.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right team, the people in place to grow, then you're definitely going to fail. Because can't be 100 Noahs to run all these gyms. Thank goodness, because one of me is definitely enough already.
I mean, so going off of that, like, how has it been handing tasks away and being able to trust other people, with your baby, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if Hannah was sitting behind me right now, her eyes would be rolling, because she knows that I struggle with delegation at times and relinquishing control. Like I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, because in your mind, no one is going to do things to the level and to the attention to detail that you will. That may be true to an extent, but you also have to understand you're successful as an entrepreneur when you start to find people that do things better than you and you employ them. Like that's success right there. If I can have one great quality that's better than everybody else, it's just finding great people. Like that if I want to star quality, it is that. It's not being the best at working out. It's not being the best at dealing with members. And I'm not, but man, if I could find people like Ron and Tori and our other employees, like Tori's our
Mhm.
manager, she's been an awesome assistance in us starting to delegate some of that responsibility, mainly because she's very much a go-getter, and she'll just start doing
Yeah.
it. She sees that we're busy with something. She's like, "Hey, I'm just going to start working on next month's schedule for the employees."
Wow.
Cool. Didn't even have to ask
Yeah.
her, you know? So, and that allows us to focus on bigger picture. And, a lot of our job is just entertaining members and engaging with people. So if she's able to help with some more of the mundane day to day, that also helps us to do more of the networking and getting out there and meeting people and, having coffee with people and having meetings, which, as you know, is a very important side of the
Mhm.
business. But so to answer your question, I'm getting better. There's still a lot of progress to be made. But it's definitely a growing experience, and, letting trust work, its
Yeah.
magic, and trusting yourself that you've hired the right people to take on that responsibility.
Yeah. What's the saying? Hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I personally struggle with delegation over my career, just trying to take things off my desk and put it onto either admins or, other partners and stuff. It's just one of those things that, like, I've really struggled with. Especially like you said, once you find somebody who's kind of better at doing something than you are and you hire them, trusting yourself, and believing in yourself that you made the right decision, and again, being on the younger side and being millennials, that tends to be a little bit more challenging for us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I don't think entrepreneurs should look at it as a totally negative quality, because it does also show you really, really care about what you're doing in the
Yeah.
experience. Because there are entrepreneurs and business owners that have the perspective of, I really want nothing to do with my business day to day.
Mhm.
So I'd be happy just to collect a check and put other people in charge and not even be there. And to be honest, that's really common in gyms.
Hmm.
I it's hard to find gyms where owners are present in the day-to-day
Why do you
operations,
think that
especially as
is?
they because it's really hard.
Okay.
And it's hard because when you're there all the time, you're constantly there to field, complaints or issues. I think a lot of gyms do have crappy policies and contracts and things like that. So in some of the gyms that I've been at and worked in previously, the owners kind of hide behind the management team,
Okay.
so that when somebody comes in with an issue, the management team just says, "Hey, sorry, that's the policy. I can't do anything about it."
Hmm.
I can't say that's the policy. I can't do anything about it, because I can do something about
Yeah.
it, right? But if I'm not present as an owner, then I don't have to look in people's eyes and see their concerns and their problems.
Mm.
So while that's challenging, it also has given us a competitive edge because we are present.
Yeah.
We can address people's concerns. We have a very strong Google
Mhm.
rating, and I just credit part of that to, if people do have a problem, an issue, which they inevitably will because we're not perfect, it doesn't usually go to blasting us on social media, because they're able to vent, we're able to hear their concerns, and we address
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean,
But
like you started off at one point talking about how if somebody's credit card expired and then all of a sudden they're getting hit with these fees, so like I guess those owners wouldn't budge from that policy, right? Like they would just say, "Nope, that's
nope.
how it is." Where you kind of are flexible and you're like, "Hey, like listen, like life happens. Like I completely understand. Like we'll waive it. It's okay." So that's again, I feel like that's kind of the new age of business is
Mhm.
being human, and understand that things happen, right? Yeah, and I think that's again what's helping drive your business, is you're human.
Yep. Well, and again, we had to put trust in ourselves that, hey, doing business that way is going to work better long term. because there are many more experienced gym owners than I am, people I've even talked to that are like, oh, you can't not charge late fees, or you can't not send people to collections when they don't pay. And I'm like, I vow to never send someone to collections over a gym
Yeah.
membership. And there are gyms that do that
hmm
consistently. We don't put people in a contract. If something happens and somebody goes MIA and like they don't make a payment, instead of what a lot of gyms do, continuing to just bill them months because technically they didn't cancel, I put their account on a hold status. We attempt to reach them, and until we hear from them, their account's on hold and there's no additional charges or fees,
Wow.
right? And a lot of gyms are like, well, you're leaving so much money on the table, but at what
Yeah.
cost? One, how much of that are you even going to collect? Let's say you do end up somehow collecting it through collections or some other means. You think that person's a big fan of your establishment at that point? Are they ever going to be back? Are they ever going to refer their family and friends?
Yeah.
You know, whereas, and I don't, advertise this, but like if somebody comes to me, and some people that are going through financial struggle will lie about it and try to find ways to avoid responsibility. But dude, for the 10% of people that just come to me, they're like, hey, I'm having a hard time right now. You know, I need to, pause my membership or put it on hold. Usually my response is, well, do you still need the gym right now? Like, could you still use a place to go and work out and avoid that stress and decompress? Well, yeah, great. Let's take care of a couple months for you. Let's keep you coming in here. Check back in with me in 2 months. Let's see where we're at. If you're comfortable to keep paying, let me know. If not, we'll revisit the conversation.
Wow.
And sure, I've missed 2 months of payments, but I've also established a trust relationship and some loyalty where even if I never made another dollar off that person, what's the value of what they're going to say about us to everybody they know when somebody's talking about a
Yeah.
gym? You can't pay for that kind of word of
Nope.
mouth,
No type
right?
of, no type
And
of
so
advertising budget will pay for that exposure.
nope. So that's been our approach. And I think now after 2 years, you can say, yeah, it does
Yeah.
work. So if you're a gym owner, especially, and you're not subscribing to that kind of model and that kind of mindset, I think the newer approach gyms are going to start to slowly take over. And even the chains are starting to realize this too. They still have their corporate policies, but a lot of the chain gyms are starting to get away from like the year contracts and things that gyms are notorious for. Even our personal training with Brock and Next Generation does not have contracts, and that is almost unheard of, especially in like a larger gym setting with training. Usually, they want to make you commit to at least 6 or 12 months worth of
Mhm.
training. But what happens if it doesn't work out? What happens if the person's not
Yeah.
happy, right? So they're going to have to come in and either finish those sessions and be miserable about it, or they're going to try to fight you in court and get out of that contract. To me, neither of those are a win for either party.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about it.
So for us, it's like, all right, well, we're not going to have contracts, which also means we have to keep our game at the top all the time to make sure that we're earning people's business every month.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I think, also helped drive us. It helps drive the trainers to do a great job because, hey, your client could leave at any time if they're not happy with the service you're providing. If they're in a 12-month contract, you're
Yeah.
good. They're going to be there. They're going to be showing up regardless. So why do a great
Yeah.
job?
Yeah. It kind of
Not
aligns your
everybody
values and
can do that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so owning the gym, I imagine you see all types of people coming in there. One of the
Sure.
biggest topics that I talk to, not just clients about, but friends and stuff are, hey, Ryan, I'm so busy all the time. I'm bouncing between kids' sports, work, I don't have time to work out. So how do you personally manage running the gym, being involved in the community like you are, and finding time to work out? And before you answer, I know, like, personally, my wife has been like, "Wow, well, when you own the gym, you just take 15 minutes and go do a workout." And I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily the case. But so I kind of want to hear from you. Like, how do you do it?
Yes. No, that's funny. And to Katie's defense, that's a lot of people's thought is you're already there. You have no excuses. But as one of the owners and as somebody who has built the business on relationships, you and I both know that I can't walk 10 feet in there without someone wanting to stop and have an in-depth
What now?
conversation.
Hold on, hold
So,
on. Is that because of them or is that because of you?
yes. I will take credit for
No,
that, and I
it
had a conversation with
yeah,
him.
and it's
Like, she's like,
awesome,
"Oh."
it's one
Yeah,
of the reasons why, like, again, I love going there, so
yeah. Yeah, so that actually makes it incredibly challenging, and it's not a bad thing. It's a credit to that we build it very personally. But the only reason that I'm able to get my workouts in that I do is right now. I've been working with a
Mhm,
trainer. His name is Steven. I know you know
mhm,
him very well as
yep,
well. But when people kind of respect the fact, like I am a training client, I pay Brock to train with
mhm,
Steven, right? Full disclosure. And it is an investment. And to me, it's an investment in myself and the
yeah,
business because I want to be able to promote that I'm using the thing that I'm expecting other people to also
yeah,
use. But when I'm with him for an hour, people most of the time can see that and they respect it. And he keeps me on
mhm,
track. But even still, even if people left me alone and I could focus on the workout for an hour, I don't know that I would force myself to stop what I'm doing to take the time for it. Even though I'm there, I'm gonna get pulled away like, "Oh, that trash can is full. I better go change that. Oh, okay, somebody up at the front desk needs me. I'm gonna stop what I'm doing because that's more important." So I could argue in some ways it's harder for me to do it. Even though I'm already there, I've got that many more distractions and responsibilities in that building that are pulling me away. But at the same time, I have to lead by
yeah,
example and make the time for that. And yeah, working with a trainer for me, especially has one, it's in my calendar and I'm paying
mhm,
for it. So I'm definitely not going to miss it. And it also just makes sure I'm consistent.
yeah,
Getting in there, consistency is what breeds results. Just, over time, it doesn't happen overnight, just like with a lot of
yeah,
things. But yeah, for everybody else too, it is hard. We're busy, we have responsibilities. But of all the hours in the day that we are wasting our time or doing something else, even work, I truly believe that if you lead a healthy and active lifestyle, you're going to be more efficient at work. You're going to move quicker.
mhm,
You're going to have a sharper mind, right? So it actually, I think people that work out feel like they have more time in some ways
yeah.
than people that don't. Time is what we make it. So yeah, I would say, yes, there's always excuses and reasons why we can't, but then somebody else is taking on more than we are and still
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I've had a lot of people over my career ask me, what the number one investment is that they could do, expecting me to be like, oh, well, contribute to the Roth IRA or, max out your 401k. And I'm like, honestly, the number one investment is your health. You know,
Mm,
so many people sit here and they plan for their golden years and they plan for retirement and then they don't take care of their health. And then they go and retire and they're just not healthy enough to travel or you know get on the floor to play with their grandkids and stuff, and then that ends up being like one of the number one regrets is, oh, I should have taken care of myself, I should have done
yeah,
stretching, I should have done my walks, I should have gone on runs, um but yeah, it's the number one investment is your health.
yeah,
So it's you've got to make time for it. You've got to block it out in your calendar. If you look at my calendar, my color calendar is color coordinated, and it's got my workout time scheduled on there. Because if it's not on my calendar, it's not going to get done. So
yeah.
it's extremely important.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely something that people just do. They think, "Oh, I'll do it when I have time."
Yep.
You're never gonna have time
Never.
if you don't make it a priority,
Nope.
right? But no, I agree. I often think about that too, like what your goals are long term. Some people want to be
Mhm.
millionaires. Some people want to have successful businesses. I mean, how many times can you look at known millionaires or even billionaires in society, and they are incredibly out of shape?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, yeah, but I could just hire a personal chef
Yep.
and, you know, pay someone to make sure I have time to do these things. And yet there they are, all the money they could ever need, and they're still unhappy. They still don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
They still aren't sleeping well. And time is the one resource we can't get any more of. It is finite.
Yeah.
But if you take care of yourself, you theoretically add time onto your life,
Yeah.
right? And I don't even think about living a long time. I just think about living the best quality life I can
Mm-hmm.
now. Because if I, God willing, make it to 80 or 90 years old, I don't want to be 80, 90 years old and hunched over and in a nursing home feeling like crap and just waiting to die. Like, I want to be that age and living my life and still being able to experience everything that life has to offer. But that starts
Yeah.
now. You know, that starts now with the habits that we form
Mm-hmm.
and the lifestyle that we live and so on.
Yeah. Well, I just saw an article recently. I think the running back for the Ravens, Derrick Henry, spends like $250,000 a year on his body.
Yeah,
And
crazy.
it's like, yes, he's a professional athlete, and his job kind of depends on his physical health, but doesn't all of our jobs kind of depend on our physical health when you really think about it? So,
Hmm.
I know when working with clients and, we're talking about budgeting and we're establishing budgeting categories, that's one of the areas I say, where's the health and wellness category? Let's allocate some money towards that. Even if it's, hey, let's think about purchasing an Apple Watch, or, a Fitbit or something, and something that gets us motivated to move and try to hit 10,000 steps a day. Standing desks are becoming very popular. My wife and I both have one, and it's a lot of times we're sitting here and we're raising it up, we're lowering it down, just so that way we're not sitting, hunched over the whole entire time. Which I am 100% guilty of. And it's like, I can see, the ramifications of it where, I'm like, if I sit for a long period of time, my spine starts to hurt, which then ends up hurting my scapulars and my shoulders and stuff. And then all of a sudden my knees start to bother me. So it's like, well, time to
Yep.
stand. So it's just having that focus, and being able to, again, make it's a weird way to be able to buy time when you think about it, focusing on your health.
Yep.
So, and everybody wants more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, you absolutely are. But what is more time worth if you're in a miserable state
Yeah.
while you have it, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But I love to use the Japanese culture as an example because there are studies done, especially of people in Okinawa, that they're living past 100 at like record
Hmm.
numbers. And there's a few things in their society, like there's a lot of hills, so like they're always like walking, and they don't have traditional furniture like we do in America, like couches and big chairs in front of a television. So they're usually like sitting on the floor. So they're constantly like sitting and
Yeah.
standing. The, not to even get started on their nutrition is considerably better than ours here in
Yeah.
the United States. But they're always moving, and they always are contributing something meaningful to society. Like they don't get to a certain age and then just stop working and and retire. Like they might pull back responsibility, but for me that's the mindset is there's never a deadline where I'm going to stop contributing to society and stop taking care of myself. I'm going to live that mindset every single
Yeah.
day. You'll live a longer life, you'll live a more comfortable life, and chances are a more meaningful life
Yeah.
as well.
Well, and I'm seeing more and more employers paying for gym memberships as like an additional benefit. Because you think
Mhm.
about, like, we've talked about a lot what it does for somebody physically, but like just mentally, like being able to go to the gym and let it all out,
Yeah.
it helps. Makes you,
Yeah. No,
it'll
we
help you
definitely
perform
have a
better at work, and not just work, but like with your family. Like I have 3 kids and it is stressful, and being an athlete growing up, I played sports my whole entire life, and that was how I was able to let my stress out, well, that's how I let my stress out now is going to the gym, and if I
Mhm.
didn't have that, escape, I don't know what type of husband or father I would be.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard. Like workouts can be
Yeah.
tough, especially the stuff that our trainers put us
Hmm.
through. It is not easy, right? But the way I look at it, you can face the hard stuff in the gym. Break through those barriers there in a safe and controlled environment. It truly does make things seem a little less hard
Yeah.
outside. I've pushed past barriers that I didn't know I could with exercise. And there's something about the discomfort of pushing past your known limits that gives you a different outlook on life in general.
Yeah.
It's like, what else am I capable of that I hadn't thought or hadn't considered? And that spills over to your work, to your
Yep.
relationships, all areas of life. Not to mention the confidence it can give you too of your own strength that you're not even tapping into.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, listen, Noah, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on here.
Thank you. Likewise.
Before I end this, I have one question for you.
Okay.
If there was one piece of advice that you could give, the younger generation, millennials who are nervous to start a business, what would that be?
Mm. Well, I would say as long as you know in your core that it is what you love and are passionate about doing, you'll figure it out. Don't start it for money, don't start it for any other reason. But if you feel like it's something that you could see yourself doing, there's a term that, again, going back to Japanese, it's called ikigai, right? And it's this mindset of purpose. If you're doing something that you love to do, something the world needs, something that you're good at, and something you can make money, that's your purpose. If you can check all four of those boxes, don't let anything hold you back. You're always going to have hard times. You're always going to be nervous. But if you can check all four of those boxes, just do it because you'll be successful.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, man. But hey, like I said, I appreciate you. You're an inspiration, what you're doing for the community, the fitness industry. I feel like you're changing the game. I'm extremely excited to see your future and I'm excited to be part of this journey with you, and I wish nothing but luck and, to you and Hannah and your gym, the trainers, everything. So thank you again for being the first guest on this, and look forward to catching up, here maybe in a couple episodes again. We'll touch base and just kind of see how everything's going.
Sounds like a plan, Ryan. Appreciate you, man. You're an also inspiration, and keep it up.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.